Joining me now on Campbell's Comments is Greg Gangle. Firstly, hello.
Hey mate, how you going?
Very, very good. It's there's a fair bit going on. As an ex-Canadian, you'll be glued pretty well to the international TV feeds coming up for this weekend. Big weekend in Canadian harness racing, mate.
Yeah, if I was back home, Paul, I would be gearing up for the biggest carnival of the year. That being at Woodbine Mohawk Park, got the Pepsi North America Cup, the Fan Hanover. The roses are red. The list goes on. So I think traditionally, is about $3 to $3.5 million worth of prize money. That Saturday night in Canada. So it would actually be on Sky One, perhaps Sky Two Sunday morning here. So whenever I get homesick, I can just click on the old TV and enjoy it.
What's the YouTube guys? The guys over there do the Canadian TV. What's their? Because you can watch them sometimes on YouTube over there.
Yeah, so there's Costa TV.
Yep, Costa TV.
And they predominantly do all the large productions for a lot of the major carnivals, and they live stream it to their social media pages and everything like that. So, it actually works out great overall coverage.
Yeah, it does indeed. So that's COSA, COSA TV. Hit that into your search bar and you'll get terrific coverage, and they're great blokes to listen to and easy to listen to. I've got you in green. We had an interview there a little while ago after the Duckshounds race, or the Dashhounds race, whichever way you want to say that, mate. And you're in blue, the blue of the Riverina Paceway going forward. But this time, mate, we're here to promote what's going on with Nutrien, and also a farm that's pretty close to your heart there in Yirribee, mate.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Speaking of, my Canadian roots, is Rod and Di from Yirribee were one of the first people I met when Anna, myself, and the kids relocated down under. We were pretty much fresh out of quarantine and coming down to the Riverina and made a quick connection with them. And our connection goes back even a little bit further, where it's funny how life works. Where one of the stud farms that I grew up in Canada and worked at when I was in high school. Was where Yirribee first stood at stud. So that breeding farm obviously has a connection with Yirribee and one great big small circle throughout the globe. So, it's almost like I followed Yirribee down here, and I've seen them obviously regularly in Canada. Now I'm seeing them maybe even more in the last couple of weeks.
It's quite funny because Nutrien's actually owned in Canada too as well. Not that the Nutrien Equine is, yep. But it's a Canadian company. We're here to promote as I said, the complete dispersal sale here for Yirribee Pacing Stud. The actual sale itself is an online sale and will commence at 9 o'clock on Saturday the 25th of June and finishes on the 27th of June, which is a Monday. Some people may have seen that as a Sunday. It will finish on the Monday night after 6 o'clock. And you and I are going to be there in person next Sunday, the 19th of June, from 10 o'clock through to 2 o'clock. We're going to be catching up live, so we won't have to worry about these little flickers going through your screen from time to time. We will be there live promoting the sale and probably having a little bit of fun. We might even talk what's going on over there in Canada as well. Who knows what will happen. But it's a very, very important sale, this sale we're here to promote for not only for Rod and Di and Yirribee, but for the entire Riverina district, I suppose, mate, because there's a lot of really nice families in this catalogue that have a great association with the Riverina.
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet, Paul, to be honest. We're dealing with 100 excess lots and just the impact that Yirribee's had not only in New South Wales, but in Australia over the last number of decades. Single-handedly the largest breeding farm in New South Wales. It's just the overall product and what they've contributed to the industry. You can't put a price tag on that. No. So, we're going to be talking about a lot of lots, and there's something in here for everybody. Obviously, you got the Yirribees, you got the Lazaruses, you got your mares, you got some race horses. So there's no doubt in my mind there's going to be a high demand, for the offspring coming off their farm.
No, then there's some beautiful families in it as well. And I spoke to Cam Bray just the other day, some of the mares and some of the lines there that you've got like direct, relations to Tintin in America, who's actually stands there. Some really, really good but one of the best families going around in New Zealand at the minute. And excuse me, a daughter of that one too. So there's going to be a lot of intrigue about that. One thing I want to highlight, when people are looking at these catalogues, make sure, especially for the first, I'm going to say to about 13 lots, I think it is. No, it might be a little bit further than that, actually. A lot of those are tried horses, because Rod was asked about those, in work, out of work, recuperating and the likes. Just go down to the bottom of the pedigree page when you're looking at these horses, and you'll get an update as to where those horses currently are. Some are in work, like as in, I know number 13, Fifi on Fire, a Courage Under Fire out of the beautiful mare Lombo La Fifi, but she raced just the other day back at Wagga. She had her first start as a 2-year-old. So people should go into that, and they'll actually be able to, I suppose, get the right updates as to where these horses currently are in their preps.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Stretty raced the other day as well. So obviously he's racing. He got some other horses, in full work. Some of them might be out in the field. But again, you got to pay attention to that, because, again, you're just educating yourself on each lot in particular.
Absolutely. And look, the depth in Rod's mares, or the mares Yirribee has accumulated over the journey, has just been... it's amazing. I've been going through just looking at the pedigrees now, so I don't sound like a complete ditz when we're there on Sunday, and just amazing some of the horses, even back to the American horses. I'll get it wrong, it won't matter, but some really good American lines going through, as well as New Zealand, and then, as I said, real, I think it's Elizabeth Kelly, real Riverina family that stood the test of time and just continues to leave winners. You've been out there doing a lot of the photos for the mares, mate, and what I wanted to highlight was with some of these weanlings going through. We're not going to go through each one of them, because there's 37, I believe. Weanlings going to be in the sale, 9 by Lazarus. Good sprinkling of other sires going through, including Warrawee Needy, a horse you know a lot about. But probably, I suppose, not necessarily even highlight some of them, just some of the ones that, I suppose struck a chord with you, if you like, Greg.
Yeah, there's probably, I would say, there's quite a few, but I have to be fair, is, when the horses come in front of you after you do about 6 or 7, they all kind of start to look identical. I don't have to tell you when you and I go and do yearling videos that, then you get the calls afterwards of somebody asking you, what do you think? And you're trying to remember what lot number they were and everything. You remember the family, but you kind of have to forget the individual. But there was a few that did catch my eye when I was there. I shouldn't say a few, quite a few actually, but I was always paying attention to the mannerisms. That's one of the things that really stands out. The Down by the Seaside by the family of, the mare's name is Treasure Me. I believe she's a Sweet Lou mare, a young mare. And I actually think Sweet Lou is going to be a dominant broodmare sire for years to come. We're already starting to see that impact back in North America, and that usually translates down here. So that part doesn't scare me. It's a Down by the Seaside out of a Sweet Lou mare, same family as the mare's Treasure Me, as I said. But that colt was sensational. I think the proof's in the pudding, what Rod's put together with that type of product. If there was one horse that kind of did really catch my eye, especially I was just thinking more of breeders out there perhaps looking to pinhook one.
Yep.
There's a Tintin in America colt out of Lura, and I looked up her lines the other day, because obviously I'm not too familiar with her. She's a live or die mare, and I remember asking Rod and Roger, who works for Rod, why did you go the Tintin in America? Then they kindly reminded me that it's the same cross as good old Chartin. So obviously, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's why that line come in. But that colt himself, as an individual, I thought was spectacular. I thought that he ticked off a lot of boxes, and more importantly, I just think that he had that presence about him. He was very professional in the way that he was presented. And a lot of that goes how well they're handled and things like that. So that's one horse that certainly, I would give a lot of consideration to, just off the top of my head.
That's lot 74.
We talked about a lot.
Sorry, Greg, that's lot 74 you're talking about there. And in that family is El Su. You talk about Chartin. But some real blue bloods there. Third dam back with Riverina as well. It's just a ripper family there, interchanged with the New Zealand. You got New York Motoring, you got Falcon Sealster. You tick a lot of boxes there. You got the double cross of Falcon Sealster actually, which is obviously what the boys were talking about. So that's really intriguing, that one.
Well, and even on top of that, looking further down the page is Catch a Wave, who doesn't really need much of an introduction, especially in Victoria. So the family, is still rather current. You talked about Elsu and the cross, with the Falcon Sealster, and even Lura. I watched her replays actually not too long ago. She was racing up in Albion Park and doing quite a nice job. I think she raced until she was 9 or 10. So obviously you talk about soundness and the durability of her. She kept ticking along until she got into Rod's camp and he elected to breed her. Those are just the things that strike me. And she took a record of 53-6, I want to say. So again, he's a Tintin Colt, and in my opinion, Tintin in America is probably one of the most underrated sires I've seen in Australia in quite some time. He's just doing an absolute marvelous of a job, and doesn't really get the high-end mares that would go to a Bettor's Delight or a Sweet Lou, but I'll tell you what, I have a lot of respect for that horse.
He left the best horse in America, best horse in the world, because she was one of the best mares here, and she went to America and just improved. Don't have to say too much more than that, really.
Yeah, and it was at a time, Paul, where we didn't really know much about Tintin in America before she come along. I wasn't familiar with the horse until Here Comes Shark Tin, and then you got to ask yourself, well, who's this Tintin in America horse? Well, he's the son of McCardle, and this is what he's done. But even 5, 6, 7 years later, after Shark Tin, he's leaving winner after winner after winner. Tim's a trooper. There's so many here in the Riverina, so many at Menangle. He's just doing a phenomenal job, and especially given the incentives with the New South Wales breeders program coming up for this upcoming breeding season, with the colonial sires and everything that goes with it. It's sensational.
So just while you're on that, so this horse here is eligible for the Breeders' Challenge and the Breeders' Challenge Blue. So the blue is for the New South Wales bred horses. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's correct. That's for colonial stallions. So your likes of For a Reason, Tintin in America, Renaissance Man, and stallions like that. So it's a series dedicated to those colonial stallions. Yeah,
that's really, really key. Any of the others, Greg, that you were a little bit taken by? We don't want to, as I said, we're not singling them out, just some of the maybe different ones. You've got a lot of notes. I saw your notes.
Yeah, there's quite a few actually. When you kind of do your homework, and I got to give Roger credit too, because every time we brought one out, we had to rate it on type, and we had a little bit of fun doing that. But one horse that caught my eye too is we talked about quite a few Lazaruses, and there's a Lazarus Colt, lot 83. It's actually out of a Grin from Ear to Ear mare named the Blue Lotus.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm not even overly familiar with the family, other than the second dam is Tintin in America. I might have to get a Tintin in America hat on pretty soon, the way that we're going here. But he was just a colt that struck my eye solely on type. To be honest, I thought that he was exceptional. He ticked a lot of boxes, as a lot of the Lazaruses do. But he just caught my eye. It was plain and simple.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's nice. The Phillies. Any of the Phillies that really struck a chord?
Yeah, there are a few Phillies. I'm just trying to think of.
That's the mare. Lot
92,
Greg, was the one that I was saying about, goes back to America, and I was going to get myself into trouble. But Rarefied Air, because the second dam there is Rich and Elegant, which is Rock and Roll Hanover, Red River Hanover, Rustler Hanover, and there's better horses, Rye Hanover as well, which is the dam of Blaze and Cullen. That's just one of those families, and you got the opportunity of one buying the mare. If you don't buy the mare, you can buy a weanling filly by Worrying Needy out of that great family, and makes it a half sister to El Millionaire as well.
Yeah, that family, Paul, the Rich and Elegant family, is probably back in its peak. I mean, it's an older family now. Royal Flush Hanover, Red River, the list goes on. But at the time, it was the Excuse Me family of North America.
Yep.
It was just the most sensational family that you could gain from. So just putting things in perspective for down under buyers, that is the equivalent of the Excuse Me family back in North America, and you just look at the production there. So And Western Ideal has been a phenomenal broodmare sire in North America. I wouldn't be surprised to see that translate down here, and maybe it already has. I'm not too familiar with that, but that is certainly something that I would give a lot of check marks to. There's been quite a few fillies too. American Zuzu. I'm just trying to think of what lot number that one is, if I have it in front of me.
I saw it just before, so
it was a filly.
It is number 89. Lot 89 is the weanling filly by Yirribee Needy out of American Zuzu.
Yeah, it's a Yirribee Needy.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought, and I remember videoing this one's, I think it was a full brother that went through the sales. And I thought they were quite similar in type. Both were very nice. So I thought if somebody's looking to pinhook one or even buy to keep it, you can't go wrong. And again, a lot of it is based on presentation and obviously conformation. But one thing that we can eliminate too, Paul, is when we did these videos, we brought out the measuring stick. Simply for online viewers, just to assist in them making their decisions.
And I think hats off to you guys. I think that was a masterstroke because it is hard to gauge. And one of the great sales, I suppose, tricks is you put the small girl with the small horse and the tall guy with the taller horse and things like that. That just about takes that out. Like, I mean, Roger, I think, led every one of the ones that I've seen so far anyway, and went from there. Lot number 97, Greg, that was that family I was talking about, that Elizabeth Kelly family. You got the opportunity of buying a half brother to Tim's the Trooper. Tim's the Trooper is by Tintin in America. He set the world, well, not the world afire, but last year his 3-year-old campaign was just phenomenal, and he's won $197,000 so far, won a heat of the New South Wales Derby, and he has not finished as a racehorse, this horse in Tim's the Trooper. Got the opportunity of buying a weanling filly by Renaissance Man, he's a beautifully bred horse himself by Art Major, and done a great job on the racetrack, set a best of 153 and 1. You got the opportunity of buying a half sister to Tim's the Trooper, a very current family.
Yeah, exactly. And this one being a filly by Renaissance Man, so you're talking about maybe some residual value down the track. Art Major, who is sire of Renaissance Man, is probably the best broodmare sire in Australia. So with that being said, you're looking at the family. Yeah, you're looking at Elizabeth Kelly, but if you go back even further, you look at that second dam. Well, that's a Bernie Kelly, Bruce Hartley family here in the Riverina, where it's just just sensational. That second dam takes up the whole page. So down the track, if you want to buy the filly, and you might not make it as a racehorse, nobody knows at this stage, but you can say to yourself, okay, well, you can still breed from her, and the probability of having success is there based on the current family.
Yeah, and you forget how good some of those families are. You just go back to Jackie Kelly, and you got a mare called Frith. We were talking there before about Chartin,
Yep.
like Frith. She would have held her own on the world stage. There's not a worry there at all. She was a superstar mare by 4-Star Shark. So, yeah, and that is a real Riverina family. So that's one of those families that I wanted to highlight because the Kellys just up the road. But it's a family that people need to try and buy into if you're serious about this breeding game. They're the sorts of families you want to, and you've got that opportunity of getting a weanling filly by Renaissance Man going through this sale. It is a cracking sale. Like we said, what'd you say, 37 lots, Greg?
Yeah, I believe there's 37. And Paula, I will make one more point. I had a bit of a chuckle with Jamie and Roger that worked for Rod at Yirribee when we were doing the videos, because they brought out this one filly, and they always ask me, guess what this one's by? And I was pretty good between the Lazaruses and the Yirribee Needies, but this one came out, and quite a bit of chrome on this one, and I was really, really stuck. So I got thinking Sweet Lou. Well, it was not the case. It was actually a Soho Tribeca filly, a lot number 102. So I know you're asking me earlier about fillies, and this family is not as deep as some of the families that we've already talked about. This one's out of a sports writer mare, as I see at Lombo. But based on type, I thought that she was absolutely terrific. And I don't know if it comes from the dam side or from Soho Tribeca, but I'll be honest, I've seen 2 Soho Tribecas in the last 4 or 5 months, and both of them have been absolutely outstanding individuals.
Yep.
So maybe that's a common theme. I can't comment on it, but if anybody's looking for that type of correct filly with a lot of presence, I ranked her quite high in terms of conformation and overall presence. And Soho Tribeca, he just trialed there the other day, I see, so he's back on the surface. But I think that I wouldn't be surprised to see him do a lot of damage in the breeding shed.
He's an interesting horse, because I was actually, when I saw that one, I thought, I wonder if it's a chestnut, and it's not. The catalogue clearly says there it's not. I've seen 3 chestnuts by him as well, so yeah, so he's going to throw a bit of intrigue into his types as well by the sounds. So yeah,
I was surprised that even I've gotten to see Lenny the Shark quite a bit, and there's a couple in the sale. And I remember videoing them as yearlings and now doing some of the weanlings. And, everybody that's been around Lenny says he's the calm cucumber, not much bothers him. Well, he's passed that straight on to his offspring. The yearlings and the weanlings that I've seen from Lenny have been as easy to work with as absolutely possible. So, and that's half the battle, is just having the right attitude and being able to work with them.
Yeah.
So, I got to give a lot of props to Lenny and what he's done. I just want to make that comment because I'm seeing a Lenny here right now, lot 91 out of Supreme Command, and I just see it's a Lenny filly, and Lenny the Shark, as I said, he's stamping them to be horses that are very easy to work with, and that's so important with young horses.
It's quite interesting with your breeding. We say about Lenny the Shark, the mare we mentioned there before, Frith by 4-Star Shark out of an Albert mare. It's that same cross, and that's why both those horses are a little bit unique. It's a cracking cross. It really works. Botswana herself was a great mare with Lenny the Shark. But you talk about that. This horse came, if Lenny the Shark come from America with his record of $3 million in stakes, 149.2, which is 149-1 when the way they bring it back from America, 38 wins, won all the big races, including twice into Dominion. Just a superstar of a horse. Just doesn't have that USA next to his name.
And you know what? That's one of the biggest issues. What I find is the Colonial Stallions down here don't get the respect that they deserve. In my opinion, you even look at Tiger Terra and what he did on the track. You look at Lenny the Shark. I mean, the list goes on. But at the same token, if a horse like Poster Boy, for example, went over to North America, or Lenny the Shark went over to North America, and won the Canadian Pacing Derby, for example, or the Graduate, or a major race like that, won in Lexington in '47, and just beat up on some horses over there once or twice, and they came back here. All of a sudden, instead of a $4,000 service fee, you're looking at 7, 8, 9, and the horse is worth double of what he is, and the overall perception of the horse is far greater than what it might currently be.
Yep.
But I do think that that's slowly changing, Paul, largely because you're starting to see, the Sun Beach Somewheres down here, and obviously the impact of Bettor's Delights. Lazarus went over. So it's getting harder, though, based on the price of transportation and freight costs, so it's a rarity. You can't fly there, then fly back. I don't think it adds up.
No, definitely not. And I will say that is one of the great things about this sale. If you want to get into breeding and you're serious about breeding, you just got to sit there on your computer, download it. There's a PDF download on the website. So if you go to nutrienequine.com, and I've actually got the pages here, Greg. I'll get these up. So basically, this will be the page you come to. You click on the Yirribee Complete Dispersal Sale. And then you just want to go to the section there that says Yirribee Sales Details. There's a downloadable PDF. If you click on that, the online sale catalog is there as well. Buying and bidding information. It'll explain how you can go to your bidding and the likes. There's also a shortcut to go to your bid card registration, and then obviously the results will come up later on. But that just is, go to nutrienequine.com, go to the Standardbred section. It'll just come up with those three sections: Performance, Standardbred, and Nutrien Equine. Just hit on the Standardbred, go to the Yirribee part. Very, very simple and easy to follow, and it's just steps that you just go through and follow as you go through. Greg, thank you very much. Look forward to catching up with you Saturday night at 6 o'clock. I think we will be at the RSL, if I don't see you before that. But and then you'll be on live with me on the Sunday morning. That is the wrong one, Greg. I put the wrong banner up. It's okay. I'll find it here. I've just got to find it. It's that one there, I think. The Yirribee Stud Complete Dispersal Sale, which begins on Sunday. Will be there Sunday from 10 till 2 live. But the sale itself starts the following weekend, Saturday the 25th through to Monday the 27th, and completes at 6 o'clock that night. So plenty of ways to get in touch and go from there, mate. Looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you bring your hat collection when you come? Because I'll need to borrow one, and I'll need to borrow a jacket. And you got your... Oh, we can do that too. And Rod said he's going to have the heat on for us too, so we should be right.
Nah, good as gold. If anyone wonders why I look like the Michelin Man, unfortunately the Nutrien guys, a bit warmer up their way. They only have sleeveless jackets, so I have to put one that looks like it's got black sleeves underneath. Otherwise, it looks a bit silly. I wish they lived in a bit colder climate. I could tell you down here in Victoria, but we'll be right. We'll be rugged up. We'll have a bit of fun. I think you'll have plenty to do, but yeah, we'll definitely have a bit of fun, mate. So I look forward to it.
Yep. Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. And again, we look forward to seeing everybody out there on Sunday.
No, Greg, thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much for giving me a bit of time.
Cool. Anything else? Just let me know, mate.